A trip to championship weekend is on the line today in Newton, Massachusetts. Will it be Loyola, the 6th seed, punching its first ticket in almost 2 decades? Or will it be the reigning champs, Boston College, in pursuit of their 5th consecutive appearance in the title game? Let's see how both these teams got here. All 8 seeds have made the quarterfinals today on ESPNU. For the Greyhounds, business as usual, 17 and 18 in their first 2 games. As for the Eagles, they got that first round bye, and they beat Denver last weekend. With that, we say hello. Thanks for spending some time with us here in Newton alongside Courtney Martinez-Connor, the 5-time national champ. I'm Drew Carter, and Courtney, BC was as advertised last time out against Denver. The Pioneers have one of the best defenses in the country. Eagles still handled them.
They had a tough job when they were on the field offensively. They needed to make sure that they were moving that ball well. They attacked from all areas on that 8-meter, were able to put themselves on the line with a lot of 3-second calls, but ultimately it was sharing the ball, letting the ball do the work, finding those open cutters, and then they had tremendous play out of their goalkeeper, Rachel Hall.
Yeah, Rachel Hall has been a little maligned this year for BC. It's a team that's 114th in the country in save percentage. She was great in that win over Denver, and Charlotte North was as well. 4 goals to bring her total for her career to 345. She stands alone on that leaderboard. Now, the Eagles are going to need every ounce of offense they can get to keep up with the Greyhounds, who are also a top 5 scoring offense.
Loyola did a great job, and it started with the draw control. It seemed like they were really honing in on that. They were able to get possession throughout the entire game and capitalize on every single offensive stand. They culminated every single time in just about a shot, a quality shot on goal nevertheless, but they were able to find those wide open cutters inside that set them apart.
Livy Rosenzweig, we're going to talk about Charlotte North a whole lot today, but Rosenzweig's career numbers might be even better. 200-plus goals, 200-plus assists. And Rosenzweig had 6 assists in that win over JMU, and the Greyhounds fans have traveled all the way up from Baltimore trying to see their team punch a ticket back to Baltimore and Homewood Field, and their first champ weekend since 2003. We cannot wait. 6-seed Greyhounds, 3-seed Eagles, Charlotte North at the draw control circle against Livy Rosenzweig. This is going to be a treat. And the reigning champs win the opening draw.
Oftentimes, winning that very first draw control gives you a little bit of a boost on the field. You heard the cheer coming from Boston College's sideline. That battle that you talked about at the draw, we're going to see it all game. Those are 2 of the best in women's lacrosse right now.
You see mid-50s and cloudy here in Newton. It was raining this morning. Luckily, they play on turf here at BC. Shouldn't be an issue today.
Working hard to get it open. We see right there Charlotte North wearing number 8 for Boston College. The ball was in Jen Medget's stick, trying to get a pass off to her, but she is going to be closely marked by number 32 for Loyola, Katie Detweiler.
Yeah, we're going to see some great matchups when BC has the ball, especially Jillian Wilson, number 7, is a midfielder marking Jen Medget today. Here comes Kayla Martello, 38 in gold. Nice move, right to the hole, and she buries it. BC strikes first. The sophomore out of Rockville Center, New York, has the first tally.
Kayla Martello for BC. She's just a sophomore, but she plays big. She is a tall player on that field. A nice target. We see this sweeping little 2-man game that she has right here with Belle Smith, number 5. But ultimately, that little rocker is what gave her a step on her defensive player, giving that first goal to Boston College in this great matchup. Quarterfinal game for women's lacrosse right there. That nice little turn. Once you have a step on your defensive player, you want to explode to the cage, and that's exactly what she did.
You see goal number 38 this year for Martello. The scoreboard operator today might get carpal tunnel. We've got 2 top 5 scoring offenses doing battle. BC averages 17 goals a pop, 3rd in the nation. Loyola 16.8, 4th in the country.
We see as the draw is getting set up right here, sticks have to be completely flat, horizontal to the ground. And already you have Livy Rosenzweig figuring out how to set up, how to take that advantage away from Charlotte North. Jen Adams talked about her assistant coach, Dana Doby. She is one of the best, and she is actually the first coach to make it really a really big position. You have Fogos in men's lacrosse, and almost it's the same thing on the women's side. However, the two offensive players who take the draw also happen to be the leading goal scorers for each team.
And when Dana Doby's career ended in college, she was the all-time draw control leader in D1. They have made it a specialty here at Loyola, but the Greyhounds turn it over on their first possession. And now we see that freedom of movement after the whistle. Boston College keeps it rolling, no stoppage in the clock. Courtney Taylor clears it across midfield. Number 12, Cassidy Weeks. Gets it back to 20, McKenna Davis. Davis in front, Martello has another. It's Kayla Martello 2, Loyola 0, under 3 minutes in.
Drew, this started all the way from the defensive end of the field for Boston College. They are playing tough, they're physical, they're on the hands, and it's all about getting in front of those cutters right there, running the ball up the field. You have the defensive player, Roman, as she's coming out with it, letting the ball do the work, transitioning seamlessly from one end of the field to the other. But those tight feeds inside, that's something Boston College worked on in practice yesterday. They know that they might only have just the stick head open, and they are willing to take those chances and passes inside, and Kayla Martello handling it with finesse.
Head coach Acacia Walker-Weinstein told us that Kayla Martello might be the best athlete on this BC roster. And she's showing it with 2 early goals. You see Coach Walker-Weinstein fresh off a national championship, the first one in program history. Before she showed up in Chestnut Hill, this Eagles program had never even been to the NCAA tournament. They made it once when she was an assistant, and now they're a fixture on championship weekend with her as head coach. Alternating possession gives it to the Greyhounds. It's a new rule this year to try to keep the game flowing. This Loyola offense, 17 in the opening round against Mount St. Mary's, 18 in the second round against JMU. They've got tons of weapons, and they're going to get a chance on the 8-meter. That's Sydney Black, the sophomore out of Cincinnati, with 37 goals this year.
Sydney Black able to get a step on her defensive player. She is so quick with that first step, and again, look for that right off the 8-meter. However, Loyola does have a lot of passing plays, but I expect because of her speed for her to take this one herself.
She has scored 9 free position goals this year. Black charges and scores, and the Greyhounds are on the board with Sydney Black.
Sydney Black has the kind of speed that is unstoppable. She is so quick with that first step, and that's exactly what we saw her do. She didn't have the best angle on her hash. However, she was able to use her quickness, dipping that shoulder and getting closer towards the goal cage. We see her bring that stick, protecting it in front of her body. When she does that, she's able to get a little bit closer to cage, a little bit of a better angle before she brings it out in front with a nice quick little push-pull and evading that crease. Obviously, if you step on the line, it's a crease call and the ball goes to the goalie, but she was able to dive out of the way.
Her 38th goal of the season, and you see the proof is in the pudding. Greyhounds with the most goals in D1 this year, Eagles right behind them in second place. Black had a hat trick against JMU in the second round. She's got the first one for Loyola today, and Rosenzweig wins another draw for the Greyhounds, who are starting to dominate possession. It's the 4th best draw control team in the country at over 61% this year. Rosenzweig is swarmed. She'll keep it after the whistle, and look out, Livy Rosenzweig. Around the crease, had it poked free, and it's BC ball.
Some nice evading those defensive players. However, there's a 2v1 on the back side. Might have been a little bit wiser for her to give that ball up, but she is the leading scorer for her team for a reason. She knows when she has the opportunities to take advantage of, and Loyola right there was just able to narrowly miss getting another goal on the board.
Well, Rosenzweig, not a selfish player by any means. She had 6 assists and no goals last time out against JMU, the IWCLA Player of the Week in the nation. Lots of contact in the 8-meter. It's a flag against the Greyhounds and a chance on the 8-meter for Caitlin Mossman. One of the most efficient players in the country, shooting above 66% this year, 3 for 4 on 8-meter chances. The senior out of Towson takes a few steps, lost it, and it's Greyhounds ball.
Excellent job defensively, getting a nice quick jump on that 8-meter. You have 2 players on either side of you when taking an 8-meter, crashing in from both sides. And sometimes it's just the extension, the reach with one arm to be able to block that shot. And Loyola was able to come up with it, ultimately giving an easy ground ball to their goalkeeper.
And Courtney, we saw at practice yesterday, Loyola putting in a lot of work defending the free position.
You know, it's a craft, just like at the center draw control. And at this point in the stage, you would think that there's not a lot of teaching going back to the basics. But yesterday we saw it. There was a lot of coaching from Jen Adams, just reiterating probably what these players already know, but going over it again and again, because this is a quarterfinal game, and they really want to get back to that championship weekend.
And BC is a different animal, especially on the 8-meter, especially with number 8, Charlotte North. Here's Jillian Wilson, one of the best two-way midfielders in the country. Back to Ellie Klugel, 13 in green, a captain. Pass too hot for Klugel, and it's scooped up for BC by Hunter Roman. 3rd turnover by the Greyhounds today. Here comes Roman, plenty of speed, streaking past the sidelines. Gets it off to Belle Smith, got hammered. And it is a yellow card against the Greyhounds.
We see that tenacious defense right there by Loyola riding. You have number 22, Georgia Latch, who is matching her step for step. However, it was that extra push coming in by Sydney Black, number 11 for Loyola, that gave them a yellow card. Now, BC is going to have an opportunity to play player up for the next 2 minutes. You know, with a call like that, the referees are making it known they are not going to allow rough play to handle on the field, whether it's a dangerous swing or an intense push. They are saying, this is what we're doing. You need to play within this framework, and that's a message for all the players on the field.
Important for them to do that early with energy high. North rings it off the pipe, and it's a race for the rebound that Loyola wins. What a pickup by the freshman Lily Osborne, 16 in green and gray, and they can clear.
Now, this has been so back and forth already from each side of the field to the other. I expect for this next possession, Loyola to take some time offensively, give their middies a break. They're running back and forth 100 yards. Give themselves a possession where they're being patient and diligent and really running their offense as opposed to a transition type style.
There's a minute left on the penalty, so they can take it all the way down with their shot clock. Loyola playing 6-on-7 offensively. It was the yellow card against Sydney Black, one of their top attacks, who scored their only goal so far. Here is Ellie Klugel, the grad student out of Fairfax, Virginia.
And we hear that 30 call come in from the sideline. They're so good at communicating with their teammates on the field, and right now they're looking to get those looks on cage despite being a player down.
The penalty expires at 7:48. Look in front, and the Greyhounds score man down. It's Livy Rosenzweig who ties it at 2 with her 64th of the season.
Livy Rosenzweig She doesn't just score goals, but she has vision on the field. However, this time, she's looking in those right opportunities, when to cut. She knows that they're a player down. She knows that she needs to capitalize on this. Again, the feeds inside are so incredibly tight. As the ball's moving around the perimeter, you see the vision of Sam Fiedler looking at Livy Rosenzweig. Her back is to the goal. It takes a lot of patience to turn the corner, sight the cage, and then release that shot knowing that you are a player down. A lot was on her shoulders right there.
Rosenzweig handles it well, the grad student out of Katona, New York. Her 438th career point, 4th all time, and she wins another draw. Jillian Wilson got blasted, and she'll restart on the quick trigger. BC's still woman up, and the yellow card just expired as we see 11 in green, Sydney Black re-enter the fray.
Loyola really capitalizes from the left side of the field, whether it's their lefties cutting or their lefties working a little two-man game. That's something that BC took note of in practice yesterday, wanting to make sure they were shutting down the initiations from the left side, and we see that right there with BC being relentless on the hands of Sam Fiedler.
Here is Sydney Black, scored the first goal for the Greyhounds. They've won 3 consecutive draws, trying to take their first lead after a 2-0 BC lead to start.
I like the patience that Loyola is showing right here. They're setting up their offense, not rushing into anything.
It's Georgia Latch, 22 in green, the freshman who throws it away. It's another turnover against Loyola, their 4th.
However, when you have a lot of patience, you need to make sure you're getting those passes stick to stick. And I know Jen Adams yesterday, we saw it in practice, when she saw passes not quite getting from teammate to teammate, she said, let's take a minute. Let's take a minute, reset, refocus. And if we see too many more of those passes that are errantly done, I have a feeling she may call a timeout.
And we've got a violation against BC and a turnover by the Eagles. Now, Courtney, you played in a ton of NCAA tournament games. What do you think the nerves are like for these players?
And that's what I was about to say. The mistakes that we're seeing, Loyola with errant passes, BC going off sides, it's just mental errors right now. They're juiced up, they're happy, they're excited out on the field, but you have to harness that and still play with your head. And right now, I'm not seeing a ton of that from either team. And I think the coaches, the message from the sideline, you see them, hands saying, settle it down, relax.
We asked Coach Jen Adams if her team is really feeling the weight of trying to make it back to championship weekend for the first time since 2003, and she said not really. It's been the same message all year. Play Loyola lacrosse. They find that when it's the consistent message throughout the course of the season, they don't have to change a whole lot when they get to the quarterfinals.
That's right. She said we want to play like a championship caliber team each and every single game, and I love that mentality.
Here's Jillian Wilson. Double comes, sets up Ellie Klugel. Matched up with Sydney Scales, one of the top defenders in the country. Here's Sydney Black. Coach Adams says she loves watching her dodge. She's so dangerous. Black with speed, and she'll have a chance on the 8-meter. That's how she scored the first one for Loyola today.
Sydney Black created separation twice within that dodging sequence. She beat her defender, a slide came. She backed out, and then she dodged again hard to cage, and that's ultimately what led to that free position shot on goal, which we're gonna see right here. Her quickness is uncanny.
At that sharp angle on the free position, so they'll reset the offense. Shot clock at 10 for Loyola. They've been patient all afternoon. Black with 5. What a move, what a shot, and the Greyhounds have their first lead.
I feel like a broken record right now, but Sydney Black, number 11 for Loyola, she does such a great job giving that quick first step on her defensive players, and she has now given Loyola the lead.
2 goals for Sydney Black, the sophomore out of Cincy. It's a 3-zip Greyhounds run. The Greyhounds have left the station. They lead by 1 in Newton. Women's lacrosse coverage continues next weekend for the semifinals. The action begins Friday, May 27th at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. For more info on the 2022 Women's Lacrosse Championship, visit NCAA.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Sydney Black is in his zone right now.
When the sideline called in 10, they knew who to give that ball to. It immediately went into Sydney Black's stick, where she quickly did her bull dodge. She's splitting her defensive player, and something we saw yesterday in practice, the BC defensive coach, Jen Kent, talked about not biting in that first step, but that's what we're seeing right now. So after that little timeout call, I have a feeling they're gonna button up defensively, making sure that they don't go for that first fake, that first step that Loyola is throwing to them.
Alternate possession gives it back to BC. Remember, the Eagles started 2 for 2 shooting, and they led 2-zip. 3 Greyhound goals later, and Loyola leads for the first time today. Here comes Holly Schleicher, the junior out of Sag Harbor. Went to West Hampton Beach High School with her cousin Belle Smith, 5 in goal. Kayla Martello has both goals for BC, 38 in goal.
We see right now personnel changes for Loyola defensively. They're looking to get their proper matchups on each and every player. Belle Smith looking to exploit a different player who's on her.
Open teammate was Ryan Smith. Great recovery from the Greyhounds defensively. What a feed to Charlotte North, and the shot down low goes. North goes south to tie it at 3.
Oftentimes when you're being denied the ball offensively on a pop out, you want to give yourself some space from your defensive player right here. Jen Medjid, she was looking to the opposite side of the field, but Charlotte North realized her defensive player, her ponytail was looking at her, and that's when you want to cut to goal. So that's a backdoor cut, very simple, easy. However, you have to have a heads-up look, and right there, Detweiler was staring at the ball, and Charlotte said, I am off to the races. Jen Medjid putting that ball into space. Very well done between the 2 veteran BC players.
You see Charlotte North now has 80 goals in a season for the 3rd time in her career. Her sophomore year at Duke before transferring to BC. Last year, 102 goals, an NCAA D1 record. And this year, she's up to 80 again, with potentially 3 more games to play.
She has just a few records, right?
Just a few, yeah. 346 career goals, Courtney, is almost hard to wrap your head around. That ball scoots all the way to the offensive end for Loyola, and it is Greyhounds' ball.
Every single ball is going to be a battle. Those 50-50 balls on the field, you want to make them 60-40 yours. And players diving, selling out, really reaching. You know, that's a tough call on the field. However, that's why we have some great referees. They're up close, they're personal, they're able to see the action of what is actually occurring on the field. But again, Loyola being smart, slowing things down offensively.
Yeah, Courtney, you said the experience. Today we've got Larry Carr in his 15th tournament, Judy Strong in his 30th tournament, and Julie Wakes in her 25th. Sydney Black has those 2 goals already for Loyola. BC just scored its first in 9 minutes to tie us at 3. Here comes Klugel. Lefty shots denied by Rachel Hall, who was terrific last weekend against Denver, allowing just 8 goals. And
Boston College needed that defensive stand. Whenever you have a hold, can keep a team from scoring on each of their possessions. You're doing your job defensively, and that's something that Jen Kent said, again, their defensive coordinator. She said, just have that relentless pressure. We have enough schemes. We have the ability to slow them down offensively.
Now BC back to work on offense. Charlotte North operating at X. We expected a lot of this today, and she buries another. The Queen of the North has 2 goals in the first quarter.
Charlotte North is so crafty around the crease. Obviously, she learned under the best from Sam Apuzzo, from Kayla Trainer. But this again started from their defense. We have Rachel Hall right here tracking that ball, defense, corralling it into the crease. And then right there, that little jab, that step, gives her a step on her defensive player, no sliding defenders coming to help out. So whenever it's a one-on-one with Charlotte North, I'm going with Charlotte North.
Charlotte North had 4 goals against Denver, her 6th consecutive multi-goal game, make it 7 in a row with her 2nd today. And the winner of this one gets the 2-seeded Maryland Terrapins. It was close for a little bit against Florida earlier today in College Park, but the Terps moving on. They're the first team to punch a ticket to championship weekend at Homewood Field in Baltimore. Again, it's North and Rosenzweig. 2 top offensive weapons doing battle in the circle. Violation against BC gives it back to Loyola. Greyhounds now leading 6-2 in draw controls in this first quarter.
We see positionally Belle Smith all over Livy Rosenzweig right now.
It's a denying, good nickname. Rosie, right? I like that.
Why not? Denying her the ball. And it's a tough matchup to give any player, let alone a midfielder who's expected to produce offensively. But that's the kind of player that Belle Smith is. She's able to make a difference on both ends of the field.
Klugel, one-on-one. Great defense from Schleicher. And that's the thing, Courtney, is who do you put your offensive players on defensively against Loyola? Because the Greyhounds have 6 or 7 players who can really crush you offensively.
You know, both teams, I think they move the ball very well. There's a lot of secondary scorers, and I hate even calling them secondary scorers because when you have 50, 60, even 40-plus goals, it's not too secondary, but they do a great job of being excellent teammates on the field, moving the ball to that one extra passing player, and that's what makes them so deadly on the field.
Patient again, under 10 to shoot. Here's Sydney Black with 2 of those 3 Loyola goals. Under 5 to shoot. They've got to go, and they pick a corner. Georgia Latch, the freshman out of Australia, goes upper 90 to beat the buzzer.
This is the second goal when they hear that 10 call, that they know that there's a sense of urgency to get to the goal. However, they don't just take any shot. They wait until they're in a quality position. We see as she's rounding the cage, there wasn't much of a dodge right there, right? She just turned the corner on her defensive player, really reached her stick around the defender right there, Courtney Taylor. But it looks like a follow-through may have caught BC in the face. I don't think the referee saw that. Nevertheless, Georgia Latch tying this game up for Loyola.
Georgia Latch has now scored in 20 of 22 games this year for Loyola. And you said it, partner. Not an easy assignment against Courtney Taylor, a former All-American at Temple, using her grad year here at BC. So the winner of this draw can hold for the last shot of the first quarter. And what a first quarter it's been, tied at 4. Greyhounds have the edge, 6-2 in the circle so far. Rosenzweig tries to bat it to a teammate, and Taylor comes away with it for BC. Got a whistle for an equipment malfunction. Schleicher has to put the left cleat on.
And a yellow card is being issued to number 4 for Loyola, Livy Rosenzweig. This is going to be another player-up opportunity for Boston College. Last time, they were easily able to score off this, but it's releasable. This is now the second yellow card for Loyola. Something that you need to keep an eye on. You don't want to get near that point where the yellow cards become unreleasable.
5 in the first quarter for number 5, Belle Smith, who shot it just wide. And the clock stops with 0.5 of a second left. BC had the backup, but I think we might get an 8-meter chance here.
Belle Smith was dodging with a head full of steam right to cage, and that's what is giving her that opportunity for a shot on goal. She was fouled as she was taking that shot.
She's got to go fast with 0.5 seconds left in this first quarter. Smith rips and scores. It counts for Belle Smith. Number 5 has the Eagles' 5th of the first quarter, and they lead by 1. As long as it's out of her stick, before the clock expires, it counts. And it will, with Belle Smith on the free position chance, making it 5-4 BC.
Belle Smith making a statement, putting Boston College on the board and giving them the lead at the end of this first quarter in the NCAA Women's Lacrosse quarterfinal matchup.
And now I'm out, and I want you guys to hear the same exact message. You are so lucky to be.
Well, Courtney Martinez-Connor, did you expect that at practice yesterday at BC?
No. Acacia was my recruit at Maryland and was so excited that she came to be a Terp. Obviously, Jen was a longtime teammate of mine, but you know, things that you say and or do, you know, you don't realize the lasting impact that it has on, you know, former teammates and friends.
Yeah, Acacia Walker-Weinstein came in a little bit after. Jen Adams was at Maryland. 2 Terp legends, couple of All-Americans, and the winner of this game is going to take on their former team after Maryland crushed Florida 18-5 in College Park in our first game today here on ESPNU. It's North and Rosenzweig back in the circle. Loyola led 6-3 in draw controls in the first quarter. It is a group effort, 3v3 in the center. And Loyola wins it. I don't know how the 4th Greyhound came in there. It seemed like no one had possession yet.
That's exactly what I was about to say. You know, maybe they thought that there was possession on the field, you know, in somebody's stick for a second, and that counted, but I didn't see any hand gestures, but I certainly could have missed that.
Here comes Jen Medjid, 35 in gold, through contact, and it doesn't matter. She scores anyway.
BC is having a ton of energy. The end of the first quarter to start the second quarter. That's exactly what their coach, Acacia Walker-Weinstein, said. She said, I want to put the other team on notice. When the quarter is ending, when a quarter is beginning, let them know who we are. Scoring goals within a minute of each of those starts and ends is huge for them. Definitely a stick in the neck to Jen Medjid right there, but she was powering through the defensive contact of Loyola. Definitely a foul. Could have and should have been called, but when you score a goal, you're helping your team.
Jen Medjid has her first of the afternoon and 65th of her senior season. Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought a stick to the neck was an automatic yellow card.
That would be true. That would be true. So something that was definitely missed on the field because that was some tough defense, but Jen just showing her composure to be able to run, shoot, and score with a stick to the neck.
And just to clean up another rule, as Boston College wins possession on the draw. For anyone who's new to the sport, maybe this year watching it for the first time, on the draw control, only 3 players from each team can be within those blue lines. the reason we brought it up on the opening draw is because it seemed like no one had possession before a fourth Loyola player came in to pick up the draw. More than 3 players can be in that middle area after someone has possession, not before. Medjid on the feed. Smith turns and buries. Belle Smith has a couple this afternoon. It's a 3-zip BC run.
Belle Smith does a tremendous job of showing her stick in any instance. When she is cutting in that 8-meter, her teammates know that if they thread the needle, that she will be able to finish it, and that's just exactly what we saw. Jen Medjid, who scored a goal a second ago, is now assisting a teammate on this past one.
Timeout, Loyola. Boston College with 3 goals in rapid fire. And the national champs are up 7-4. Ticket to championship weekend is on the line today in Newton, Massachusetts. Boston College and Acacia Walker-Weinstein looking to go back to the national title game for the 5th consecutive year. As for Loyola, it's been almost 2 decades. They're trying to go to the semis for the first time since 2003. It's their 4th quarterfinal under head coach Jen Adams in her 14th season in Baltimore. And those Greyhounds led in the first quarter, but they've surrendered 3 goals in 68 seconds to BC, who now leads 7-4. Holly Schleicher controls the draw for Boston College. Thanks for hanging out with us here in Newton. Drew Carter, Courtney Martinez-Cano, the 5-time national champ from Maryland. Speaking of the Terps, they're on to the semifinals. The 2 seed is headed to Baltimore, and they get the winner of this one. Belle Smith has 2 goals already, 5 in gold and maroon. Connects with McKenna Davis, 20, the true freshman out of Canandaigua, New York. Courtney, BC starting to look like the national champs.
You know, you can definitely tell that they have been in this situation a lot within the last few years. They didn't get frazzled when they were down, or Loyola was matching them player for player.
North, what a feed to Smith, and it's a hat trick for the sophomore from Long Island.
To give such separation to their team, they have now doubled up the score. It's 8-4, and it's coming down to doing the little things, winning the draw controls, getting the ball back. But we see Belle Smith right here scoring in different ways. She was able to dodge hard to cage, create that 8-meter, cutting inside, getting open, and another cut from her teammate Charlotte North. So they're just changing their looks right now. Right now they're saying, we want to show who we are. We've been in these situations. This is how you do it. And then they're gonna feed off of that. From one play to the next, letting it thrive and take this team to that next level, because they want to get back to championship weekend. They're seasoned and they know it.
North and Rosenzweig again in the circle. North tried to track it down. It's an alternate possession. And it's Loyola ball. You see 4 goals in just over 2 minutes for BC. And how about the pass from Charlotte North that time? Now, Coach Walker-Weinstein told us at practice yesterday, Courtney, they're going to try to use her at X a little bit more to get her working in that distributor role.
She was excited to see that, and I think that shows Charlotte's depth, that she's not just a goal scorer. She can feed. Obviously, we see her at the draw control as well, but she's multifaceted for sure.
Loyola needs to stop the bleeding. It's 4 straight BC goals and 6 of the last 7. Here comes Ellie Klugel, one of the captains around the crease, had it poked free. It was great defense from Belle Smith, doing it on both sides. 6 turnovers for Loyola. Here comes Cassidy Weeks, another Long Island native playing here in Boston. Watch out, North one-on-one with Katie Detweiler. And that's a foul and a chance on the 8-meter coming up for Caitlin Mossman.
I like how quickly they're getting the ball up the field, Boston College, and into the hands of Charlotte North, because that changes the tempo. Everybody was looking at Charlotte. They're looking to send a quick slide to her, and that creates open opportunities for players just like Caitlin Mossman.
Mossman looked to pass. Now peels back around with almost 60 on the shot clock. BC resets it. Here's Kayla Martello, who scored the first 2 for the Eagles. On the backup, remember, it's the closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds. It's McKenna Davis, the freshman. Hands it off to North, and here's that 1v1 matchup we were so excited about. North versus Detweiler. Double comes. North has to get rid of it. In front, Martello has another. It's a hat trick for Kayla Martello, and 5 in a row for BC.
Now Boston College is playing like a team who just won the national championship in 2021. Bringing the ball in from the end line, you saw that they immediately put it down, gave it to Charlotte North. Ultimately, that created the double team. They want to slide to her, so that gives opportunities for other players to cut in her path. So moving the ball quickly, Charlotte North to McKenna Davis, who her eyes are up. She sees Kayla Martello. You want to move the ball quickly, right? If there's a double team somewhere, it means somebody else is wide open. So around the perimeter is where they went till they found that open player inside. Kayla Martello having a day. Again, she's just a sophomore.
2 hat tricks now for the Eagles, both from midfielders, Belle Smith and Kayla Martello. Against, you see Caitlin Larson between the pipes came in with the 3rd best goals against average in the country, under 7.7 this year. Both these teams have tons of weapons. For BC especially, Jen Medjid has a goal already today. It's not just the Charlotte North show. She gets a lot of the headlines, and for good reason, but the Eagles have a deep and potent attack.
I feel like this is the first time we've seen them offensively in quite some time, so I do expect for them to take their time offensively.
Wilson took the feed down low, hit it off the post. Georgia Latch keeps it for Loyola.
As soon as I say that, they take a shot. Were they not listening? However, it hit the pipe. That means the shot clock resets. However, there wasn't a lot of time on it, so the clock will stay with the longer amount of time that was on there.
The shot clock has been such a good addition to the game. Came in last year, 90-second timer. Courtney, I know you were a big proponent of it.
You know, it just makes the game faster, more exciting for the fans. Things could get pretty confusing when teams could just hold the ball forever after being up. Not very exciting, and now it's back and forth, obviously, with the shot clock there.
And Boston College is playing tremendous defense. They have now forced 7 Loyola turnovers. Greyhounds score almost 17 goals a game, and they allow under 8 per game. BC already has 9. Great defense from Georgia Latch. One of the attacks on this Loyola roster, and Courtney Taylor has to send it back to Holly Schleicher. And now the Eagles will slow it down. They've scored 5 goals in a row.
You know, I think certainly making a statement is what Boston College has done. They took to heart what Acacia Walker-Weinstein, their coach, told them yesterday. Show them who we are in and out of each and every quarter.
Smith, right down the Charles River. And she is fouled. It'll be an 8-meter from straight away. Belle Smith with a hat trick today could score her 50th goal of her sophomore season right here. Eyeing down Caitlin Larson. Belle Smith right to the rack. Off the post.
The stance of Caitlin Larson, Loyola's goalkeeper, is a little bit different. She squats low. She gets high on the crease. Looks like she's taking up a lot of the goal cage. It's deceptive though, because when you run that ball in, all you have to do is reach your arms out, put the ball around, but it works in her favor. Spell Smith shot that ball right into her, popped out to one of the Loyola teammates, and they are able to have another offensive opportunity and hopefully cut the lead that Boston College has put forth.
Ellie Klugel, 13 in green and gray, keeps it here for the Greyhounds with 40 seconds to shoot. It's a 5-0 Eagles run. Rosenzweig has been quiet. The Eagles have swarmed her. Her pass is too tall. It's kept in bounds nicely by Loyola, but taken right away by BC. Holly Schleicher has been all over the place for the Eagles.
They seem to be out hustling all over the field. Boston College not being rattled right now. They've certainly settled things down. They did struggle with turnovers versus Denver, so taking care of the ball was another focus that they had for this game, and you certainly see that calmness on the field as opposed to a frantic play, which we saw in their second round game.
It's Medjed against Jillian Wilson, the midfielder for Loyola. Long pass broken up and taken away by the Greyhounds. Only 2 turnovers now for BC. Greyhounds clear it. They were 14 of 14 last week against JMU.
Patience is a virtue on that last one, waiting till they could get that ball safely across and set up their offense. We see substitutions coming in. We haven't seen the normal offensive play of Loyola that we saw in those first few minutes, where they were dodging hard, sending cutters inside.
Credit this Boston College defense against one of the most dangerous offenses in America. Here's Latch. What a feed in front. Klugel buries it. And that stops a 5-0 Boston College run.
Georgia Latch, just a freshman, number 22 for Loyola. Did a great job of dodging down the alley, creating those defensive players to take a look at her, and we see as she starts right here, the double team leaves a wide open Klugel inside. Ellie Klugel, number 13. We see she's cutting through. Both defensive players went to the ball. No second slide, which is what allowed her to be wide open inside. A nice, easy, quick play for Loyola, and a defensive stand that is not typical of Boston College, who's been so set and ready and communicative on the field.
It's the first goal for the Greyhounds in 9 minutes and 39 seconds. There is Jen Adams, one of the greatest players ever at Maryland, trying to take the Greyhounds to championship weekend for the first time. It's a program that went to 7 semifinals in 14 years under the late, great Diane Jeppe-Aikens. Draw control win for Holly Schleicher.
Drew, on that last one, the Loyola coaching staff was all directing where to have their players go on the draw. They weren't quite hearing. They knew exactly where that ball was going to head. Again, assistant coach Dana has made a career out of draw controls, knowing exactly when and where. So even despite not being on the field, she's able to tell with where that ball is in their sticks, where that ball is going to go. So they knew the exact position. Loyola player not making it to where she needed to be, so BC easily able to come up with that one.
Violation against Loyola will give Cassidy Weeks a chance on the 8-meter. "25 goals this year for the senior out of Bayport, New York on Long Island. Larson is there. It's her first save today on the free position chance. And if Caitlin Larson can get going, that'd be huge for Loyola. She is 12th in the nation in save percentage, just below 50% this year, and 3rd in the country in goals against average. Timeout, Greyhounds. Check that, offsides against BC.
And Lily Osborne, just a freshman, but she did a great job of clearing that ball, and that's what created a bit of confusion for Boston College. 2 players were on her as she was carrying that ball over the 30-yard line, giving that shot clock reset for Loyola, which was huge. Anytime you step off sides, shot clock is going to be reset for that offensive team, so big advantage for Loyola right here.
Again, Klugel was open, couldn't handle the pass. Sydney Black does for Loyola. And Livy Rosenzweig will reset the offense. Rosenzweig one-on-one with Melanie Welch, who's doing a phenomenal job against one of the best offensive players in America.
Livy's eyes were up. She was looking to feed that entire time, but with a lot of defensive pressure, she has the quickness to be able to give herself space and make a dodge to Cage. But as you had mentioned, relentless defense of Melanie Welch for Boston College prohibited her from doing that. Oftentimes you want to give yourself space, step away, and then look to reattack.
Klugel finds the open teammate. Works its way back to Black with 2 goals today. Lots of contact right around the crease. Hunter Roman, 42 in goal, does a nice job, and it's scooped up by guess who? Holly Schleicher. Back to Rachel Hall, out of her crease. Here comes Sydney Scales. Cassidy Weeks will clear it for BC. Weeks still with it in her cross. Charlotte North with space against Detweiler. Charlotte North with 2 goals today and 347 for her career, most in D1 history. Here's Jen Medjid. Medjid had it poked free by Jillian Wilson. What a defensive play from number 7 in green. But it stays here with the freshman McKenna Davis. Under 2 minutes in this second quarter.
Again, we see the denial by Katie Detweiler, not wanting the stick or the ball in Charlotte North's stick. Ultimately, Loyola causing another turnover. These are 2 of the best defensive teams within women's lacrosse, and they've done a great job here today causing turnovers.
That's 3 for BC compared to 7. Check that, 9 now for Loyola. The Greyhounds hanging after that 5-0 run from the Eagles.
You know, lacrosse is a game of runs, so you can easily come back if you just put in your mind that, okay, they scored this many that quickly, we can score the same amount that quickly, and just relax. But BC has not scored in the past 10 minutes, so they're kind of having a dose of their own medicine that they gave Loyola.
Tons of contact. The flag was out for a moment, but no whistle blows as Katie Carolla got dumped inside. Now the shot clock off for BC. Here comes Cassidy Weeks. Numbers for the Eagles, and Medjid takes advantage.
When you're able to score offensively in settled, when you're able to score off of 8 meters, and then when you're also able to do it in transition, stemming from your defense, coming up with a huge play just like this, Rachel Hall making a save, that's what sparked the offensive transition. A nice big pass from Belle Smith, tic-tac-toe down the field all the way to find the ball its way in Jen Medjid's stick. Right here, we see that 2v1. She had options to the left and right, but Cassidy Weeks doing a great job, having her eyes up, letting the ball do the work on the field, and again, we're back to doubling of the score, Boston College over Loyola.
That's their first goal in over 10 minutes. So, Courtney, explain to us, why did we see the flag come out for a second after Carolla got tackled near the crease and then no whistle?
So the flag means they're going to blow the whistle, but they're letting the advantage take place. If you don't take a shot, then they would have gotten an 8-meter inside. However, because they took a shot, and that was also not affected by another foul, the flag gets put back in the pocket.
BC with the win on the draw control. 20 seconds left in this second quarter. Here comes Holly Schleicher, could make something happen in the snap of a finger. Offsides against the Greyhounds. Livy Rosenzweig, number 4, the attack on the defensive end.
Now that's a foul that I think it's a good foul. There's not a lot of time on the clock, so no extra time is going to be added. I think a smart play by Loyola right there.
Ball out of bounds, and that'll do it for this first half. Boston College leads by 5 after outscoring Loyola 5-1 in the second quarter. Eagles put together a 5-0 run, and the national champs are doubling up the Greyhounds at the break here in Newton. Don't go anywhere. Coming up at halftime, it is Sound On with Tari and Amari doing some NCAA women's lacrosse history trivia. Test your knowledge at the break. BC up by 5 at halftime. Oh, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Homewood Field in Baltimore, one of the best venues in sports, hosts championship weekend in 1 week, and Maryland is already on to the Final Four. Boston College 30 minutes away from setting up Acacia Walker-Weinstein versus her old school. BC trying to make it back to the title game for the 5th consecutive year and go back-to-back, win another national championship. Got some little Sparkies here at Newton Lacrosse Field.
I love the support. Wearing player jerseys, that's Hasselback number 2. There's 2 Hasselbacks on Boston College.
I bet we've got more than 2 Hasselbacks watching right now. Matt and Tim both played QB for BC, and then in the NFL, both are co-workers now at ESPN as well. I'm Drew Carter, back alongside Courtney Martinez-Connor, who is wearing a jacket. It's mid-50s and overcast here in Newton. I think it's a beautiful day for lacrosse. Not everyone agrees, that's okay.
I'm sure the players running back and forth, 100-yard sprints would say they appreciate the weather.
I think so. It is great to be here to watch 2 of the best scoring offenses in the country go toe-to-toe. You saw Loyola in their 4th quarterfinal under Jen Adams, and first since 2015, trying to make the semis for the first time since 2003. It's Livy Rosenzweig, 4 in green and gray against Charlotte North, 8 in gold and maroon. It's a false start against North, and Rosenzweig will try to take advantage.
You know, a lot of people may wonder why she wasn't off to the races, but both draw takers, Charlotte North, Livy Rosenzweig, use draw sticks. So they actually want to get that ball out of their stick as quickly as possible. That way they can exchange with one of the defensive players and get their shooting stick in their hand.
And Georgia Latch has a shooting stick and a real good one. It's her second goal today, and Loyola strikes first in this second half under 30 seconds in.
Georgia Latch for Loyola. We see her setting up at long ISO. She is just a freshman, but she is a freshman with a lot of experience. She plays internationally for the Australian national team. She'll be playing this summer, and she looked like she was going to take her defensive player topside, so I think that's why they were giving her space. But when she had space, she decided to pull it on the underneath side and take her defensive player down the alley. Proved to be beneficial for her. That was a big goal for Loyola. Now they're looking to make a statement as the start of this third quarter happens.
Yeah, Georgia Latch, only a freshman, but grew up in Melbourne, Australia. And as her head coach, Jen Adams, one of the greatest Australian players of all time, knows, growing up there, you play against adults. So this is nothing new for her. She says she's a freshman playing like a senior. Nothing phases her. Rosenzweig wins another draw for Loyola. We'll see if number 4 swaps out the stick. Here she comes. You see her at the bottom of your screen. Courtney, what's the difference between a draw stick and a shooting stick?
You know, the draw stick, it's where the ball sits, and you want the pocket to be in a different area of your stick. And every single player, if you don't have a draw stick, it's a disadvantage for you on the draw. Now, Taylor Cummings, one of the best in the world, she does not swap out sticks, or hasn't, but now she's thinking about it.
She is built different. We heard a whistle before Kayla Martello's goal, and now they say it counts. So Martello has her 4th of the afternoon, and BC has a 5-goal lead again.
So the call in women's lacrosse, if there's a simultaneous whistle to when the shooter is taking a shot, we see this fast break happening, and let's keep our ears open for when this whistle sounds. If the ball is out of her stick by the time she takes that shot, then it counts. It looked like it was pretty close to us. I'm not quite sure if it was out of her stick. By the time that whistle sounded, it seemed like it was still in her stick the first time that we saw that replay. However, the goal stands, and that's goal number 11 for Boston College and goal number 3 for Kayla Martello.
Alternate possession, Loyola ball. Check that violation against BC. And here comes Rosenzweig. Draw circle is one area where Loyola has performed really well today, leading 11-7 and 3-0 here in this third quarter. That's Lily Osborne, 16 in green, the true freshman who broke that pressure from BC. Jillian Wilson, what a catch. Great passing from the Greyhounds. Ellie Klugel, who scored a goal in that first half, gets it back to Latch.
Defensively for Boston College, it seems like they have extra players on the field. They're able to move and shift so quickly. Double teams recover, which is very hard to do when the ball is being passed around the perimeter, but they're making it look easily by the ease at which they double and head back to their assignment.
And give Jennifer Kent a ton of credit on the staff, even preceding Acacia Walker-Weinstein as the head coach. A chance and a goal for Ellie Klugel, and Loyola is back within 4. It's the second today for the grad student out of Fairfax.
Ellie Klugel, a graduate, one of the many on Loyola's roster this year. Wearing number 13 in green, we see clear through set up for her, natural lefty. And it seemed like a bit of a slow dodge. BC wasn't quite ready, wasn't thinking that she was going to be attacking. Usually they're sending quick doubles. And without that, as soon as she gets a step on her defensive player, she's releasing that shot, getting her arms up and away from her body, able to create some power. Coach Jen talks about her lefty capabilities quite a bit on the field. She, along with Sam, Jillian, Katie Carolla, that they have a ton of experience on the field, and she's a strong believer that if they're working hard on the offensive end of the field, good things will happen for the Greyhounds.
It's a pretty good shot too, Courtney. Left hand, left side from an acute angle like that.
Look at acute angle. What degrees is
with
that?
the hand motion. I think it's just under 90. Didn't go to the University of Maryland, so I don't know my angles that well. Rosenzweig again, now 4 for 4 in draw controls in this third quarter. Foul against BC. It's a blocking foul against the Eagles, and Loyola fans will know that their only loss of the year was at Syracuse on a controversial block charge call. They tied it with 12 seconds left, but a charge was ruled against Livy Rosenzweig before she passed it off to Georgia Latch in a goal that would have tied it. Rachel Hall comes up large with a save, and now BC can move in transition after the 4th save of the day for the senior. Courtney Taylor all the way. Now North and Medjid play the two-woman game.
You know, one thing that I like about that loss to Syracuse, Coach Jen Adams for Loyola said it really was a pivotal moment for them. They decided to say, you know what? We know what's being said. We made a lot of mistakes earlier on in the game. Take the emotion out of it. Don't feel sorry for us, but we need to step up sooner, and play a clean game.
I think a lot of people will see that 20-1 record for Loyola as Belle Smith attacks and think, well, they play in the Patriot League. Maybe the record's a little deceiving. Not only did they only lose to Syracuse by 1 at the last second, they beat Florida, they beat Princeton, they beat Penn and Johns Hopkins, all ranked opponents. Feed ends up in the stick of Caitlin Mossman, and she puts it home, but immediately our referee signals no goal. It's a yellow card against BC. Larry Carr came flying in from the top and held out the yellow.
So number 12, Riley Olmstead for Loyola. As we watch this replay right here.
Let's watch the follow through. Might be a dangerous follow through from Mossman.
And we see that stick to the head right there. The follow through by BC is why BC is now playing a player down. That yellow card issued due to the follow through. When a defensive player has positioning, you need to make sure to stop your stick on that shot. And that's a 2-minute player up possession now for Loyola. It will be releasable because there's not more than 4 cards for Boston College.
So Loyola on the woman up for a couple of minutes after the dangerous follow through from Caitlin Mossman. Seven on 6 for this dangerous Greyhounds offense. Jillian Wilson. Wilson 7 right on the doorstep, and she scores her first of the day, and Loyola's within 3.
As this offensive set was going on, I know that Jillian Wilson has a tough matchup defensively, despite being a midfielder. And I was just thinking that she's been kind of quiet offensively. Could that be too much in her mind getting back defensively? But right here, she streaks open to the middle of the field, right in that critical scoring area. And Chase Boyle finding that open stick of her teammate Jillian Wilson. She can do it offensively as well. She is a true two-way midi. Again, she has a difficult matchup on the defensive end of the field, but they expect her to produce offensively as well, and she has certainly stepped up in that last offensive play for Loyola.
We showed this with Boston College earlier. Loyola's the same thing. It's not just Rosenzweig and a bunch of others. It is a ton of weapons for this Greyhounds offense. The two offensive leaders meet again in the circle. Livy Rosenzweig, the grad student out of Katona, New York, in Westchester County, against Charlotte North, the grad student out of Dallas, and it's won by Wilson. Wilson and Rosenzweig, the only teammates in D1 with 100+ draw controls each this year. And 7 in green and gray will keep it on the reset.
Again, we feel some momentum being shifted in Loyola's direction. They've scored the last 2 goals. They're feeling their mojo a little bit. Oftentimes that happens when you're winning the draw control.
5-0 in draw controls this quarter for Loyola. Credit the Greyhounds, they have not flinched. They've already won 20 games, most in program history. Previous record was 17. Chase Boyle tried to connect on another pass. I don't know if that was a shot, but either way, it's in the back of the net. And it's a 2-goal game in Newton.
As a defensive team, that's a really big blow. They were doing a great job, Boston College, by matching up their defensive players, matching the cutters. And right there, it was a feed inside. They were looking for Ellie Klugel. However, that ball scathed through every single defensive and offensive player, and Chase Boyle gets that shot on goal. It's almost like they were screening Rachel Hall, which made it very difficult for her to see that ball coming in.
And you can see the ball would have missed the net, but Sydney Scales' stick came in and batted it. The redirect. Looks like we're playing hockey here in Boston.
So very unfortunate for Boston College. Kudos to Loyola, now closing the gap. We have just a 2-goal game.
That's a tough break for Rachel Hall. She's been good today, 4 saves. But the 9 goals allowed. If there's one weakness for this BC team, their team save percentage is just over 34%, 114th out of 117 D1 teams. North and Rosenzweig race. And it's won by Boston College and Holly Schleicher. That was the Eagles' first draw control win of this second half.
Wow, look at the dominance right there. Loyola with their draw controls, their shots on goal. We talked about it at halftime that they needed to make sure to generate offense when they had the ball, and they've certainly made a change at the start of this 3rd quarter. Lacrosse is certainly a game of runs, and this game is proving exactly that.
Remember, Loyola only had 3 shots in that 2nd quarter. They've already scored 3 goals in the opening minutes of this 3rd quarter. Here's Belle Smith. She was spectacular in the first half with a hat trick. Draws the double. Great defense from the Hounds. Here's Kayla Martello leading the game with 4 goals. Loyola's all over him. North one-on-one with Detweiler. Medjid has a couple goals already. 10 to shoot for BC. Medjid's got to do it herself with 3 on the timer. The pass. Ryan Smith didn't get the shot off. It's a shot clock violation against the Eagles.
The referees are going to talk about this. Both teams are looking for a little something. Loyola looking for a shot clock violation. BC hoping that the ball was in their stick so they can get the shooting space call before the clock hit 0. Let's take a look at this. We see the shot clock in the background. Jen Medjid looking, finding her teammate, and it looks like it was in her stick. Yes, no, maybe so.
And a
what do you think?
shooting space violation.
And it looks like the referees are putting 1 second on the shot clock. I think that's the right call. It looked like when we saw that replay. Drew, you're not willing to?
Well, I don't. It's hard. I mean, credit the officials for catching that in the moment.
I don't know how they do it. They have a lot of things to watch on that field.
So Ryan Smith has 1 second on the 8-meter. She rips. Save, Caitlin Larson. It's a kick save and a beauty that went over the net on that side of the field. And it should be a reset here for BC. So 60 seconds on the timer after the near violation. That worked out nicely for the Eagles.
And I think a little bit of a confidence boost for Loyola, right? They were able to get yet another save out of Caitlin Larson, which is always a good thing. Their defense already got almost a shot clock violation from one of the top producing offenses. So I think both teams are feeling their confidence right now.
What a finish. It's Belle Smith again with her 4th goal today and 50th of the season.
And none other than Charlotte North bringing that ball in from out of bounds. Always has her eyes up, not just scoring goals, but feeding her teammates and willing her team to another championship weekend.
Our next WNBA matchup comes your way Saturday afternoon on ABC and the ESPN app. Diana Taurasi, Tina Charles, and the rest of the Phoenix Mercury square off against Aja Wilson and the first place Las Vegas Aces. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Good to see the W on ABC. That's great for the sport. While we're talking about the Phoenix Mercury, just want to send our best wishes to Brittany Griner and all of her loved ones. It's a tough situation happening there. We hope she comes home safely soon. We got a good one here in Newton, Massachusetts. Belle Smith, number 5, just scored her 4th goal of the afternoon. And the Eagles' first goal in over 7 minutes after the Greyhounds of Loyola scored 3 in a row to make it a 2-goal game. Now 12-9, the reigning champs on top. Good turnout here at the Newton Lacrosse field. Mid-50s, a little rainy earlier today, still overcast, but we got a lot of fans here.
Lining around the outside. I love to see that when fans aren't just limited to where they can stand. I think it creates a really great environment for the players on the field.
Good intimate environment here. Any seat is the best seat in the house. Another draw control win for Loyola. Jillian Wilson. It's now 6-1 Greyhounds in this 3rd quarter in the circle. Good footwork from Ellie Klugel, one of the captains, tight roping to keep it in the offensive end.
We saw a lot of denials right there for Boston College. They had a double team on the ball. They were denying adjacents. They are really pressuring, want to make sure that Loyola is knowing that they have experience in this position and they are going to make it difficult for them to come back.
Denying adjacents. I knew they taught geometry at Maryland. We were talking about acute angles earlier. Wilson draws the double team. Pop it around to Ellie Klugel. Sydney Black with 2 goals today. Back to Georgia Latch, also has a pair. The freshman out of Australia. Great defense from Sydney Scales with her 25th caused turnover of the year. Tops on the team. Here comes Cassidy Weeks on the clear for BC. That's now 10 turnovers for the Greyhounds. In front, Medjid has a hat trick. Her 17th Hattie of her senior season, and it's back to a 4-goal lead for BC.
This is one of those credit again to the defense right here. This double team that came out on Georgia Latch for Loyola, that blindsided double is what created this offense for Boston College. Jen Medjid, again, she is in the right place at the right time as that ball is being transitioned down the field. The speed by Cassidy Weeks, and then Jen putting herself in a position to catch, turn, shoot, and finish. Textbook. And there's a look at the defensive players right there who set up that caused turnover. We have Scales, Sydney Scales defensively.
She's had an amazing season, the sophomore out of Walpole.
You know, it's tough to be able to play at a high level right out of high school. The rules are different from high school to college, and people don't necessarily realize that. It's not just the shot clock. Defensively, all of a sudden you can run through the crease at the collegiate level. There's a lot of things to get used to when you're an underclassman.
You got to credit Livy Rosenzweig in the circle for keeping Loyola in this. Now 16-8 in draw control as the Greyhounds lead. What do you want to see from them here offensively, Courtney?
You know, they're so good at cutters. I think creating separation offensively on those ISO dodges, and then cutters from the weak side, it's their bread and butter, and we just haven't seen a lot of it today.
Yeah, they average over 8 assists a game, 5th in the country. A lot of contact against Rosenzweig for Melanie Welch. Loyola only has 3 assists today on their 9 goals. Here comes Wilson. One-on-one. Great defense from Belle Smith to pick the pocket. Latch has it. Another turnover forced by this BC defense. They are tenacious. 11 giveaways by the Greyhounds. And Cassidy Weeks does well to clear it again. Hits Smith on the run. 4 goals already today. Medjid. Check that Martello with the left hand. And the shot is backed up by Caitlin Mossman. Loyola ball. Great defense from Riley Olmstead, 12 in green, to force the turnover.
Again, the midfielders have been back and forth. When that ball is safely over the 30, I do expect for Loyola to capitalize on taking their time offensively. They haven't been able to get a shot off.
And they give it away again. They've dominated in the draw control circle, but 12 turnovers, including 3 straight. Two giveaways by Loyola, 1 by BC, and now the Eagles will try to settle it down.
We're seeing this third quarter kind of reminisce of what the first quarter jitters look like at this point, right? And it's not abnormal to get a little tight on the field again. You feel the nerves. It's getting closer towards that ultimate final fourth quarter, but there's a lot of lacrosse left. It only takes 6 seconds from that draw control to score a goal, so both teams are not out of this at all.
That's a foul against BC.
All right, so we see right here, Loyola, it's their ball, a non-engagement call right there. Boston College has to give space to the player with the ball. So that's what was called right there. She has the ball inside of the critical scoring area to begin that clear. So that's the referees letting everyone know. They yelled it loud and clear. You do not give space to the girl who is fouled with the ball. That's gonna be a green card coming out next.
Loyola with it, under 2 in this third quarter. They clear it successfully again. Chase Boyle, number 5, did not see the other number 5, Belle Smith, charging hard. And now Smith scoops it up. What a play from Belle Smith. Showing off the two-way skills today with 4 goals and just forced a turnover. Loyola's coughed it up 13 times today, which is more than their season average, including on their last 3 possessions.
And that's difficult when you were trying to get back into this game. All is not said and done. 13-9, 4 goals can be scored quite quickly, but you need to make sure to get a shot on goal every time you have the ball offensively.
Boston College uses its first timeout, hanging on to that 4-goal lead, 4-second differential between shot and game clock. See Acacia Walker-Weinstein in the background with Sam Apuzzo in the foreground, one of the best players in college lacrosse history. Belle Smith, we know what she can do offensively, but how about the defense?
She is tenacious on the field. You know, she was named to be a part of the Sixes roster for the U.S. this summer, and it's because she is a competitor at both ends of the field. There's not that many true two-way midfielders, but look at that. 2-time first team All-ACC. She's just a sophomore, so she got first team.
2 for 2.
Right. Freshman and sophomore year, ranked number 2. I think I've seen her as number 1 for the 2020 class in terms of recruiting, but she was a huge get by Boston College and has been a force on the field ever since day 1.
Well, folks, don't forget NCAA women's lacrosse coverage continues next weekend with the semifinals. The action begins on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. For more information on the 2022 Women's Lacrosse Championship, visit NCAA.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Belle Smith out of West Hampton Beach, New York, former Hurricane, one of many Long Island players on this BC team. You look up and down the roster, not a ton of local talent for Acacia Walker-Weinstein, an Annapolis native herself, but you see Medjid's from Long Island, Smith is from Long Island, Kayla Martello as well, Cassidy Weeks, and then Charlotte North, of course, is from Dallas, so they're pulling players from all over.
They are. They even have a Texas in Charlotte North. Lacrosse, yes, is played in Texas.
Rachel Hall, too, out of Cyprus.
That's right. You know, I believe that timeout call is to say we got to make a statement yet again, ending this third quarter. Yes, we're up by 4, but we got to drive it home. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't try not just for the last shot, but getting a couple more goals before this third quarter is done.
Remember, they scored 3 goals in a 1-8 span earlier in this game. And now under a minute in this third quarter, BC led 10-5 at halftime. Here comes Kayla Martello. Cassidy Weeks gets it to Caitlin Mossman, number 7, matched up with Riley Olmstead. Medjid couldn't handle the pass. Loyola takes it away. Shea Clevenger, one of the captains, 33 in green, has it. Jen Adams says it always feels like there are multiple Shea Clevengers out there. She's everywhere, but Loyola gives it right back as Kayla Martello scoops it up. And here comes Belle Smith, the reigning ACC Rookie of the Year, with 4 goals already today. "15 seconds left in the third. Offsides against Loyola.
They most definitely want this last shot to end the third quarter. Not happy with just keeping possession.
Mossman with it, feeds in front. Smith scoops and buries it. 5 goals for number 5, Belle Smith.
So we know the first look didn't work out for them, but their defense again in transition is what gave another offensive possession to Boston College. Belle Smith has done a tremendous job of finding herself right place, right time, always having a step on her defensive player on the inside. But I think ultimately it's her patience, right? She's very relaxed. She's not just shooting the ball errantly at the goal. She took a second, a few fakes before ultimately dropping her stick and changing that level, which, I mean, 5 goals. 5 goals in a NCAA quarterfinal game. That just shows her dominance as such a young player on the field who plays like a true veteran.
Remember, she also scored with 0.5 seconds left in the first quarter. Buzzer beater supreme. Belle Smith has done it twice this afternoon. A West Hampton Beach hurricane has struck here in Newton. And Belle Smith, who grew up on Long Island, has 5 goals through 3 quarters. And the lead is 5 for the Eagles. 14-9 as we take you to the 4th quarter. BC trying to get back to championship weekend for the 5th year in a row. What's that? I think so. I'm pretty sure we could get away with saying it, but
right,
we're
like
supposed to say championship weekend,
yeah.
I think, or a semifinal. Look how good we look.
Did we decide, like, are we?
I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Yeah, I think we should do that. I mean, I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but I feel like we saw it, you know, in the first and second round. Zombie Nation. Zombie
Are you
Nation.
gonna say that again? The bracket
Elite 8
coming
bracket,
out. Okay.
yeah.
I know you're gonna pull out like glow sticks.
All right, so bracket coming up. Well, this sucks. This was supposed to be the best game of the day, but no days. Welcome back to Newton, Massachusetts, where Boston College, the reigning champs, lead by 5 against the 6th seed Loyola here in Mass. Winner here gets Maryland in the semifinal. Coming up later tonight, we've got 2 more great games of action here on ESPNU. Northwestern and Syracuse do battle at 5. And then UNC, the odds-on favorite to win its first championship since 2016, takes on Stony Brook in the nightcap.
A lot of great lacrosse to be played today. We are only in game 2 of the quarterfinals. A lot of Tewaaraton finalists that we see on the field today. Obviously, Charlotte North for Boston College. Even though she has a face guard, a tough defensive matchup, she has been able to get herself in a position to feed that ball inside. You certainly see her presence on the field and at the draw control.
Drew Carter back with Courtney Martinez-Connor. Glad to have you with us for this quarterfinal matchup between BC and Loyola. Eagles trying to head back to the national title game for the 5th year in a row and win their 2nd crown. Last year they won their 1st. Loyola looking for its first appearance on championship weekend since 2003, when the late great Diane Jeppy Akins was at the helm. Jillian Wilson wins another draw for the Greyhounds. This is one area they've dominated, 17-9. We expected an awesome matchup in the circle, and we've gotten it. Charlotte North and Livy Rosenzweig, both teams' top offensive weapons doing battle. And right on cue, there is Rosenzweig with her 2nd goal this afternoon.
Loyola making a statement at the start of this 4th quarter. They're saying we're not done yet. You talked about Diane Jeppy Akins. Her presence, her spirit still very much felt at Loyola. And Livy Rosenzweig, I didn't talk about her, but she has done a great job at the draw control. We talk about Loyola coming out, winning 11 of the 17 draw controls today. They have one of the best in their coach, Dana, who works tirelessly at it. We saw her at practice yesterday going over the matchups, not just for enough for Livy Rosenzweig, but also for Jillian Wilson, who's so dominant around that circle.
You see Rosenzweig with 2 goals today and now 209 for her career to go with 230 assists, 439 points, 4th all-time. BC gets the upper hand on this draw. Mentioned Dana Doby, another former Terp on the sidelines today. When she left Maryland as a player, she was the all-time leader in draw controls. Jen Adams told us she's turned it into an art form, coaching. Loyola has done well in the circle, but still down by 4.
Boston College, the clock is on their side. We see them getting set up, being diligent in their movements.
Belle Smith at the controls. Takeaway for Loyola. And here come the Greyhounds. That's Lily Osborne, the true freshman who's had an amazing first season in Baltimore. Came up lame, and on the quick substitution, Loyola keeps it. 13 Ellie Klugel came off from the sideline.
Look. Lily Osborne, a huge defensive play right there, coming out of the defensive end. She is a midfielder. However, she has had quite a job on the defensive end this year, which is where they're using her mostly, but we saw her come up. It looked like her hamstring as she was sprinting out away from the defensive pressure of Boston College.
We certainly hope she's okay. Another player who Jen Adams said is a freshman, but not playing freshman lacrosse right now. Here's Georgia Latch. What a move. That was off the pipe, and it brings up a reset and an 8-meter chance for Sydney Black.
Looked like Sydney Black may have been checked in the face as well. But Georgia Latch right there, we saw her eyes up. It was almost like she was going to give that ball one more extra pass to Sam Fiedler. Took it herself off the post. That's a shot clock reset. And Sydney Black coming up with possession, then getting fouled. This is another big opportunity.
Sydney Black has scored twice today, but Rachel Hall comes up with a big-time stop that time. It's Hall's 5th save of the afternoon. Preserves a 4-goal BC lead. Here comes the freshman, McKenna Davis.
Just as you mentioned, Drew, that was a huge save for Boston College by Rachel Hall. Acacia Walker talked a lot about her capabilities on the field, and she said today was another big test for her. She had a huge game versus Denver, and I think she's building right on top of that.
Yeah, 8 saves against Denver and only 8 goals allowed. 5 saves today. And Charlotte North will re-trigger the offense for BC. Belle Smith has been the straw that stirs the drink today for the Eagles. 30 on the timer for Jen Medjid, who's got her 17th hat trick of the season. Smith with a runway and another goal. It's 6 for Belle Smith. Career high for the sophomore. A 6-pack in the quarterfinal of the NCAA tournament.
Belle Smith, she shows up big for big games. We see Jen Medjid changing her position. She's not just able to feed from the low elbows from behind the goal cage, but from up top, she is a distributor as well. With her changing position right here, again, all eyes are on her. Opens up a lane for Belle Smith. Almost a save. We see it right at that mid mid-stomach level. But as she brings her stick back, it does make it difficult to track where that ball is coming from. We see her stick very flat, and it's not until she's driving forward that goalkeepers are able to see where that ball is coming from. Super deceptive. But Boston College now back with a 5-goal lead with a little bit less than 12 minutes to go.
North wins the draw clean. This is a Loyola team that has scored at least 12 goals in all 21 games coming in. Stuck on 10 right now. Holly Schleicher brings it into the offensive end, attacks herself, draws contact. On the shot, it's backed up by BC and Caitlin Mossman. And Schleicher will have herself an 8-meter chance. She's 1 for 1 on free positions this year. Schleicher steps and scores. Holly Schleicher has her 2nd goal of the season, and she does it in the 4th quarter of the NCAA quarterfinals.
What set Holly up with that 8-meter was a head full of steam dodge. It's all about speed in the game of lacrosse. It's not called the fastest sport on 2 feet for nothing. So a hard dodge to cage, a foul is what culminated in that 8-meter free position, and she's now extended the lead for Boston College.
Timeout, Greyhounds. Eagles lead by 6, under 11 minutes away from another championship weekend. Have become synonymous, and not just the Final Four, but the championship game. The Eagles trying to make their 5th in a row. Couldn't get over the hump from 2017 to 2019. They lost in 3 consecutive title games. Finally got to the summit last year, their first title in program history. Charlotte North led the Eagles to the top of the sport. And Acacia Walker-Weinstein, again, she's been on staff for 12 years here in Chestnut Hill. Before she arrived, they never made the NCAA tournament. Now you could argue they're the class of the game. The big reason why is number 8 right there, Charlotte North. She's got 4 points today, couple goals, couple assists, uncharacteristically undominant in the draw control circle. Loyola leads 18-11 in draw controls today, but trying to claw out of a 6-goal deficit. Drew Carter, Courtney Martinez, Connor, glad to be with you for the quarterfinals here. Someone is going to Homewood Field for championship weekend.
Boston College really sticking with sending that double onto Jillian Wilson. She's so crafty off of that draw circle. However, it's as if she doesn't want to go to goal from there, and they know it, so they're jumping her quickly. I almost want to say she should use that to her advantage. Go ahead, dodge.
Saw a lot of contact around the crease. It's Sam Fiedler, 24 in green, who went down. She has been silent today. Got pushed by Ryan Smith, and she'll have a chance on the 8-meter. Fiedler scored 5 goals against JMU last round. Looking to get on the score sheet here. She does have 2 assists. Fiedler attacks. Hall has the answer. Rachel Hall is heating up with 6 saves. What a move by Andrea Reynolds. And it's taken away by the Greyhounds and Shea Clevenger. New goalie for Loyola, you see 37. That's Lauren Spence, the freshman, playing in her 13th game of the season.
And a small little switch like that can be all the spark that Loyola needs just to be able to generate some offense. Again, another great defensive play for them on the defensive end, looking to translate it onto the attacking side.
Caitlin Larson, the starting goalie for Loyola, who has started all 22 games this year, only had 2 saves and allowed those 16 goals. But now the Greyhounds draw another foul. It's Georgia Latch, number 22. 3 seconds against BC. Sets up an 8-meter for the freshman out of Australia. She's heading to Towson for the World Championships this summer. Georgia Latch attacks and scores. It's a hat trick for the freshman, and the Greyhounds are within 5.
Loyola can be so crafty off of their 8-meter free positions. We saw a stack of players on the opposite side of the 8-meter. They're a little bit out of the screen right here, but Georgia Latch said, I don't need you. And I love how when she takes her 8 meters, she gives her stick side more space. It actually takes away more angle for her, but she is so precise with her shooting. She'd rather give the stick side more space away from the defensive player, and she's still able to finish lower third, changing her level very well. Again, it shows her 3rd goal of the game, just a freshman, but she plays with a ton of experience.
Yeah, the Greyhounds have Georgia on their minds. 38 goals in her true freshman season. Jen Adams says, even though she's a freshman in Australia, you grow up playing against adults. Games like this are just like water off a duck's back for Georgia Latch. Is that an Australian phrase? I've never heard that one before.
I almost Googled it after she said it to us because I wasn't quite sure, but then I'm also mesmerized by her accent at all times. And I love how you said that because I'm pretty positive she said old women too. Because
old women, yes.
They are playing to all ages, and you know, I think that's super special whenever a player comes over internationally because they have such a different perspective on the game and they don't get rattled in big games.
And if anyone knows what Georgia Latch is going through, it's Jen Adams, who came over from Australia and joined you guys at Maryland, fresh off a championship, and won 4 in a row herself. From 98 to 2001. There is Jen Adams, one of the greatest players of all time. When she graduated from College Park, she had the all-time points record at 445. Here comes Jen Medjid, shoots it high, backed up by Caitlin Mossman.
Again, they're putting the ball in Charlotte North's stick. Super smart of them coming from out of bounds. Why not give it to the player who's being denied the ball the most often?
Here's Ryan Smith. Another one for Boston College. It's Jen Medjid with her 4th of the day.
We're going to see Jen Medjid pitching a tent. She is right at the top of that goal circle right here, and she is asking for the ball. She barely has any space. We see the defender all over her, but she knows if they are able to feed that ball in, thread the needle right there, Caitlin Mossman, that she will be able to handle it and redirect it nice and quickly into the cage. Not a lot of space, but again, all you need is the head of your stick in order to be able to score a goal in tight situations.
It was so fast, I couldn't even see who shot it. She just hot potatoed that thing into the goal with Shea Clevenger all over. Jen Medjid is such a great attack for BC. Again, it's Charlotte North who gets most of the headlines, and she's a transcendent player, yes, but BC has surrounded her with a ton of artillery.
I mean, Jillian Wilson yet again coming up with a big play at the draw circle. Doing everything she can to give Loyola opportunities on the offensive end of the field, but finishing with a shot each and every possession is what's needed in this 4th quarter as time is winding down.
So Loyola leads 19-12 in the draw control circle, and they trail by 6. You ever seen that before, Courtney?
You know, it's due in large part to the defense of Boston College. 14 turnovers have plagued Loyola, many of them coming from the defensive play, the solid defensive play, the scrappy play of Boston College.
Yeah, they're shooting it well, which they normally do. They lead the country in shot percentage above 51%. Only 19 shots and 11 goals. The problem is they just can't hang on to it. This time they do, and Ellie Klugel has her second straight hat trick. And the captain is imploring her team, still in this, down 5 with 6.5 to play.
Ellie Klugel, she has been offensively on fire as of late in this NCAA tournament. We see it begins with her. She's engaging her defensive player right there. Her nice rollback as soon as Belle Smith, her defender, fell down. She wanted to make sure to roll away from where any sliding defensive players could be, plus putting it back in her dominant hand. She's a natural lefty. Why not? You have the space. Nobody's coming to crash in. And I like this right here. She's willing to take it with her right, her non-dominant side. And then we see those late slides coming from Boston College. Again, a lot of time on the clock. They're able to still be in this game, but they have to make sure to finish with shots on goal each and every offensive possession. No question about it.
Rosenzweig turned that draw control into a jump ball and won it against Charlotte North. Now 20-12, Loyola's edge in the circle. And here comes Georgia Latch. Latched onto her is Melanie Welch, 13. Sydney Black, the sophomore, with 2 goals already. One-on-one against Hunter Roman. Black fires, Hall gobbles it up. And Rachel Hall takes it out of her crease. Timeout, Boston College.
A great play by Rachel Hall coming out of that goal cage.
Look at this. I mean, this just writes itself.
Cue the Eagle.
Cue the Eagles as the Eagles try to go back to championship weekend. And how about Rachel Hall? Kind of looks like an eagle swarming back there and circling the defense.
She smothered that ball. So a nice dodge right here, Sydney Black. Little bouncer coming up, and instead of allowing her defense to come after that ball, I like how she took control. She came out, obviously Acacia Walker-Weinstein, head coach of Boston College, ready to have that whistle blown for a timeout. Perfect time, give your team a break, and talk with them about what you want to see to end this game, how to put the nail in the coffin and say, we are done. We are not allowing Loyola to get a step closer. I think that was a really great call for her with that timeout.
This has been a fun watch here in Newton. 29 combined goals, 2 top 5 scoring offenses doing battle. Belle Smith has been the belle of the ball today with 6 goals, a new career high for the sophomore out of West Hampton Beach, New York. Libby Rosenzweig, somewhat quiet by her standards with only a couple of goals, but dominant in the draw control circle with 12 of them. And BC with that 5-1 second quarter, that's been the difference. Aside from that, it's a 1-goal game. You've said a few times, Courtney, you don't want to call it secondary scoring, but everyone after Charlotte North has been picking her up today.
Right, 4 points, that's no slouch at all for Charlotte North, but Jen Medjid, I mean, look at that, 7 points on the day. 4 for Kayla Martello, and Belle Smith with another 7 points. It's balanced. They share the ball. They know that in order to win as a team, it can't be about any one player. And when you looked at that last stat, I mean, that certainly showed it to be true. You know, obviously I talked about a great call by Acacia Walker when her goalkeeper was sprinting to midfield, right? But it also gave Loyola an opportunity to say, hey, this is it. We need to step up and we need to play like the champions, this championship caliber team that we want to be, that we can be, because we have less than 6 minutes to show it.
It's been an awesome season for Loyola, Patriot League champs. Jen Adams beat her old head coach, Cindy Timschel from Navy, in the championship game in the Patriot League. Run into a different animal here, Boston College out of the ACC. Only losses this year against Carolina twice and at Duke by 1. Kyle Smith to trigger. Now you start doing the math with the clock. 5-goal deficit, under 6 to play, and the shot clock's at 90 for each possession. That was a great shovel pass from Smith, looking like Brett Favre to get it to Jen Medjid.
Whatever it takes. All right, now we're going to see some patience offensively from Boston College. They want to use the pressure that Loyola is going to apply and use it offensively. When you make them come after you, it's a little bit easier to then dodge, use the pressure to your advantage on offense. Waste a little bit of time off the clock, why not?
It might be tempting to try to go to goal, right, with all this pressure being applied. With under 30 seconds, BC keeps it in the offensive side. Nice play by Hunter Roman to bat it back over the blue line. And before Medjid could tee one up, it's a violation against Loyola. Sets up an 8-meter after the shooting space. BC has 15 to shoot. This might be in the window where they're ready to fire. Medjid obliges and bounces it home. 5 goals for Jen Medjid, and it's a 6-goal BC lead with under 5 to play.
Jen Medjid with a nice little takeoff. Her placement has been different each and every time, and that's huge. Now, granted, there's another goalkeeper in cage. She wasn't seeing those shots earlier, but obviously she was watching intently. And when attackers are changing up where they're shooting off of 8 meters each and every time they step up to the plate, it can be a bit frustrating, needless to say, as a goalkeeper.
Jen Medjid has scored 5 goals in the quarterfinals for the 2nd year in a row. Did it against Notre Dame last year, and she's done it against Loyola. This is a tough assignment for the Loyola goalies. 18 goals allowed, just 2 saves. They've tried a couple of different netminders. No one has the answer for BC yet. Katie Detweiler, the defender, all the way, and she scores! Her 2nd goal of the season. And the reigning Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year makes it a 5-goal game.
What I love about this, Katie Detweiler all the way from the draw control. And she says, if you don't honor me, I'm going straight to the cage. And that's what she did. She uses her speed. She uses her ability to run by that defensive player. Nobody's making contact. Again, you honor everyone on the field, especially those defensive players. They practice shooting too.
Is that as part of practice or just afterward having fun?
No, as part of practice. Just like an attacker will play some defense a little bit here and there, same thing for defenders. You just never know when those opportunities arise.
Katie Detweiler, the senior out of PA. What a play from her right off the draw. And you see Caitlin Larson is back between the pipes for Loyola. Greyhounds have some juice. Detweiler chases down another draw, but it's going the other way. And it is Greyhounds ball after the whistle blows. Offsides against Boston College. And they'll reset the shot clock to 90. Coming up on 4 minutes left in regulation. Loyola still trails by 5. Here's Sydney Black. She's got 2 goals already today. Latch lost it. Freshman gives it away. Eagles will try to kill some clock, but they do have numbers. And now Medjid pulls it out to waste some time. 15 turnovers for the Greyhounds today.
And that's a shot clock reset. Loyola was offsides defensively. That's something you don't want to have happen, especially when you need the ball back. And BC is taking every single second of their offensive possessions, as they should. They have a bit of a healthy lead, but don't want to give that ball away too easily.
The clock is your friend if you're BC. That's a yellow card against Loyola. Against Katie Carolla.
Now that's a tough one, a stick to the head, check to the head, being a player down for the next 2 minutes when you need the ball back in order to score goals. And scoring goals, we've seen them do it already, a player down.
And they scored shorthanded back in that first half. Libby Rosenzweig. And they need one here. North was winding up that shot. She's become known for it. But BC is going to try to kill the game clock. Penalty expires at 1:02, so until then, expect the Eagles to hang on to the rock and try to salt away a win. Does Charlotte North get the green light to shoot? It's become an iconic silhouette. North on the free position. She's got a hat trick in the quarterfinal, and it's a dagger for the Eagles.
I'm sure so many fans would have loved to see that wind up end up in a big-time shot on goal. But I love the fact that she is deceptive, and we've seen this a few times from her throughout the season. A couple times as of late, that big wind up, and it's, no thank you, I'm taking this in a bit closer. It catches those defensive players off guard. They aren't quite sure what's to come of her dodging by as opposed to that quick wind up. But I like her ability to change things up at the 8-meter line. But she is oh so capable, and it's so pretty to watch when she winds up. But coaches are happy with that. Yet another goal, almost to 20 in the quarterfinals.
It's North's 29th free position goal of the year, tied for tops in the country now with Kyla Sears of Princeton. North back to work on the draw control. And it's Loyola ball. Again, they've dominated in the circle. 23-12.
Time is of the essence offensively for Loyola. They need to score and do it quickly.
Wilson denied by Rachel Hall. I'll tell you, if she's playing like she's played in the second half, that's bad news for the other three teams in Baltimore. Rachel Hall made 8 saves, allowed 8 goals against Denver in the second round. She's got 7 saves this afternoon against one of the best offenses in the country with a top shooting percentage in America, Loyola at above 51%.
Play is even, obviously, before that 2-minute yellow card. It was releasable once a goal is scored. Another shooting space call against the Loyola defense. It's on the hanging hash. This is not a good hash to shoot from, but obviously there's A difference between the shot clock and the clock for the fourth quarter to end.
It's a yellow card against Loyola and Katie Detweiler. So BC back to the woman up. A chance at a 20-piece. What a season it's been for Loyola. Their first 20-win season in program history. Gonna come up just short of championship weekend.
You know, I don't think the score necessarily reflects the hard-fought game that there was throughout the entire 4 quarters. I'd say if they could probably take away a minute here and there, right? In that minute, I think 8 seconds, 3 or 4 goals was scored by Boston College at one point. But again, credit Boston College to coming up big, having a lot of players step up when Charlotte North was being closely guarded. They certainly played team lacrosse.
Even as they're trying to kill this clock, they've scored 5 goals in the last 4 minutes. Charlotte North with it in her cross. 10 seconds to go now. North in front. Belle Smith finishes it off. 7 goals for the sophomore. And it's 20 for Boston College.
You know, that's just an exclamation point for Boston College today. We see Charlotte North. She's bobbing and weaving, split dodging left and right. And Belle Smith, she's not done with cutting inside. Catches her defensive player in that slide, putting herself in the right place. As soon as she sees her defender leave, she's asking for that ball. Second slide a little late getting to her. And Boston College, they've reached their 20.
This one was pretty easy. Today's player of the game brought to you by Capital One, Belle Smith. What's in your wallet? 7 goals, career high for the sophomore. 3 goals and 3 assists for Charlotte North. A 20 spot for the Eagles. And it wouldn't be championship weekend without Boston College. The Eagles are soaring back to the semifinals for the 5th year in a row. And the quest for back-to-back championships continues.